Hey viewers, my name's Cara. This is going to be another little mini topic video. You'll notice that I'm wearing the same thing that I was wearing in the last one where I just talked about how I'm dealing with things better in my life and bad things happen and I'm still okay with it. So if you haven't seen that sounded silly. If you haven't seen that video, you can click here to watch that. But this will be another miniature topic, and I'm actually going to pull up what I just posted on my Facebook page, and I'm going to kind of use that as a script because I don't want to make this video too long and I don't want to get too rambly. So on my Facebook page, I just posted that I was just reminded of how passionate I am about topics of sexuality because I came across a conversation of one of my friends because of National Coming Out Day being recently, October 12th, talking about being proud of being bisexual and how that actually does fit into a pagan worldview. My friend happened to be pagan and I happen to be pagan, but of course not all bisexuals are pagan and vice versa. I came across this conversation of my friend talking about this and someone else saying, well, can you actually call yourself a bisexual? I mean, have you been with someone of the same gender? And talking about how they thought that you have to have physical relations with someone of both genders in order to truly call yourself a bisexual. Otherwise, you're just bi-curious. So this person, it sounded like they are bisexual, but because they haven't had a physical relationship with someone of their same gender, they call themselves bi-curious because that's what people have said they have to be called. And I get really riled up over things like that because I was there. I went through that. I had people tell me, you can't call yourself bisexual if you've never kissed a girl, and things like that. This was at a time in my life that was before I had had an opportunity to have a physical relationship with someone of the same gender as myself. I had only been with people of the opposite gender at this time, and my friends knew that. So some of my friends that I had spoken to were of this opinion that you can't call yourself that if you don't really know. Like, how do you know if you haven't done it, you know? And even back then, it just didn't make any sense to me. How do you know if you have, well, how did you know? How do you know that you're straight before you kiss someone of the opposite gender? How do little kids know who they're attracted to? They just know. And I only say little kids because we can pretty much assume that really little kids have not even kissed anyone yet. Though, of course, there are people who go many more years of their life before their first kiss happens. And so for them too, how do they know before they ever have a physical relationship? It's not about a physical relationship, you just know. So as I mentioned in the Facebook post, when my friend first told me you have to be called bi-curious, I was just like, okay, I guess that's what I am then, because I didn't really know a lot about the spectrum of sexuality at that point, and I didn't know much about the terminology, so I kind of shrugged my shoulders and said, okay. But then when I got to college, I really met a lot of people who were, you know, elsewhere all along the spectrum, and I realized that bi-curiosity is what it sounds like. It just means you're curious about the same gender, or maybe you already know that you like one gender, but you're curious about the other one, whether it's the same or the opposite gender that you're attracted to first. You're curious about whether you really are attracted to both, but you don't know yet. That's what the curiosity part is. And so at that point, I already knew. I didn't feel that I was just curious. I was only calling myself curious because I was told I wasn't allowed to be bisexual if I hadn't kissed a girl. But the fact of the matter is that you know before you do those things. You know before you try to have those experiences because you want to have those experiences because you know you have the attraction. However, it could also be a case like a lot of friends of mine where they're just like, I don't think I'm attracted to this person, but I'll kiss them to see, you know, why not? You know, there's no harm in it. And then, so they can do that and then say, yeah, no, I'm not attracted to you. So there are cases like that. You don't have to necessarily be attracted to someone before you engage in physical relations with them. But I really just feel that it's something that you know. And just the double standard of other people being able to know and not being questioned about it, whereas bisexuals or other people of different orientation tend to hear this, well, how do you know? If you haven't done it yet, you can't call yourself this. I just think that thing is kind of silly. Because people assumed I was straight long before I had ever actually kissed a boy, and people accepted that about me. They accepted that I was straight even if I hadn't kissed a boy. So why can't people accept that I like girls if I haven't done it? Are straight people not allowed to say that they're straight until they've kissed someone of the opposite gender? And even if so, should they not then kiss someone, I'm just saying kiss in place of all physical relation, but you know what I mean. Should they have to have a physical relationship or any physical relations with someone of both genders before they're allowed to call themselves straight? Because if you haven't tried it with the other gender, how do you know you're not attracted to them? Huh? Logic. This is faulty logic, but I'm saying that if we use that logic with one group, should it not also apply to the others? I will put a link to the post on the Facebook so that you can read it, but I'm going to read straight from it now. Whatever the label you use, knowing who you're attracted to and who you'd like to do things with, whether it be sexual or romantic, because remember, you can be asexual and biromantic, for example. There's a whole lot of different things in that sort of realm of terminology. That has nothing to do with who you've actually had an opportunity to do things with. You know what your orientation is with or without physical relations. If you desire physical relations and have the opportunity to have them, so much the better. There are, of course, people who do not desire physical relations but may still be romantically attracted to people, and that's where all of the other terminology comes into play. I personally call myself bisexual, by which I mean that I am physically and romantically attracted to both binary genders. I may in fact be pansexual, but I'm not as comfortable with that terminology for myself yet because I haven't had as much direct experience with being attracted to people of other than the two binary genders. The only real interaction I've had with people of other genders is through the internet, and I can say that I feel that I am attracted to them that way, which I think is valid. So maybe I am in fact pansexual, but whatever the label is, it's who I am, and I knew that before I kissed anyone. You do not have to pass a physical exam before you can use the term that you have chosen for your sexuality. If you don't want to use a label, for whatever reason, that's different. But if you want to use a label, don't let someone else tell you that you can't simply because they want you to prove it. So that's what I had on my Facebook page. And last but not least, since I'm on YouTube, I'm going to put a link here to a great new-ish channel. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. It's called Sexplanations, and it is a show with Dr. Doe, who is an expert on all things sexual, and I love these videos. I only recently started watching them. I didn't start watching it when the channel started, but I recently had some time and started watching them, and it's just fantastic. There's so many different things that are talked about, and she takes people's suggestions for topics that people want to hear more about, and there's just a lot of cool stuff. I learned a lot about dry humping. And she also talks about things like asexuality and what that is and what that means and what all these different labels are, but then she also talks about sex itself and how it works between two people of multiple gender combinations and how it works between multiple people of multiple gender combinations. And it's just a great thing. If you're interested in sex or sexuality at all, I would highly recommend that you check that out. It's great. Thank you so much for watching. This has been another mini topic video. I'm glad to be catching up back here on YouTube and getting some thoughts out there to the YouTube-verse. Until next time, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.